Welcome to the channel for the future caretakers of resurrected species. Welcome to the Paleo-Zoo-Keepers Association.
Oh, hello there. Welcome to the Paleo-Zoo-Keeper Association. My name is Austin. Now, I know many of you who have watched this channel know I've covered captive topics on different species, on dinosaurs, some couple birds, reptiles, and so forth. And while those are definitely different and peculiar in their own right, this one's definitely one of my strangest ones, and my first invertebrate creature I've done. This creature here. This is Anomalocaris. Out of all the creatures I've done videos of, this is said to be one of the oldest. This creature is very, very interesting. And it'll be very interesting on how we could be able to take care of this guy in captivity if we ever resurrect it. Although I'm not holding my breath on this being resurrected, but still. Now, I'm pretty sure many of you probably have seen illustrations of this guy, but don't really know much about it. So, before we get into how to make an exhibit for it, let's learn more about the Anomalocaris. The Anomalocaris, it's said that to have lived in shallow tropical oceans during the Cambrian period, a time said to be roughly between 520 to 499 million years ago. Fossils of this species are found in Canada, Australia, China, and the United States. Although it resembles crabs, shrimp, and other crustaceans, Anomalocaris is actually not closely related to them, and it belongs to an extinct order of a group of arthropods. And it's often said that the Anomalocaris is said to be one of the largest organisms of its time. Today it's known to be 1.7 feet long. It's considered to be the largest, although previous estimates have thought that they could be up to a meter long. This free-swimming invertebrate is thought to be the first apex predator of the world. It originally was thought to hunt at hard-shelled prey like trilobites, but recent research has shown that it most likely went after soft-bodied prey like jellyfish. To hunt, it uses its compound eyes that are similar to your typical insect to be able to locate its prey. And when its prey is in sight, the Anomalocaris would swim at a speed of 3 body lengths per second and uses its front appendages to grab the soft-bodied prey. Making an exhibit for this species would not be an easy feat. There are many things that need to be taken into consideration, especially to make this species not only survive, but thrive in its enclosure and allow the public to see this species and enjoy. Well, we're going to go through the different parts that are going to be needed in making an exhibit or an aquarium tank for the Anomalocaris. Now, obviously, since this animal has been found in the marine deposits, it will definitely need to live in the water. But it's not as simple as just getting a container, pouring water in, and just leave it at that. In this case, the water environment has got to be like a balanced ecosystem. Much like how you need good air quality to be able to breathe in a contained environment, for an aquatic animal, especially those who breathe in water, whether it be Anomalocaris or even a modern day fish, the water definitely needs to be in a balanced ecosystem and regulated, so that way the animal could be able to stay alive and well. One of the things that you'll definitely need are water changes, or at least some regular partial changes, like change the water like 10 or 15% of the water every week. It's crucial to be able to remove accumulating pollutants and also replenish several trace minerals. Frequent smaller water changes can generally be preferable to infrequent large changes. So that way it'd be nice and steady, so it's not too much of a change. If you make it too big of a change very infrequently, it would definitely stress the animals out to the point that their health would be compromised because of the stress and probably even kill them. And there are several ways that we would do this, or need to take consideration with this. Regular testing of water parameters like nitrates, pH, carbon hardness, and salinity, and so forth would definitely be vital for making certain that the water environment is optimal for the Anomalocaris, or any other marine animal for that matter. Nitrates, a compound of nitrogen and oxygen, are definitely something to watch out for in the water. It's generally accepted to keep the levels pretty low, like basically to like 5 ppm or parts per million, or lower in salt water and reef environments, which is pretty much the kind of environment that Anomalocaris would definitely live in. This is basically to prevent stress and health problems for the animals in the tank, such as high concentrations that can negatively impact their immune system, growth, and overall well-being. While it's not essentially a toxic as ammonia, a long period of time, extended period of time of exposure to high levels of nitrates can definitely be detrimental to the animal's wealth. Now, the fossil record is not exactly clear on the level of nitrates in the oceans back when the Anomalocaris was still around, but it's often agreed upon that it is lower amounts than it is in modern oceans. So we'll be able to take that into consideration. Nitrates, I hope I pronounced that correctly, a form of nitrogen and oxygen that can be naturally or artificially present. It's generally a less stable form of nitrogen than nitrate and can be converted to nitrate in the environment. Should be undetectable except during cycling. Now, looking at the pH of the water, for those you don't know, pH is basically saying like how acidic or how alkaline the water is. The lower the pH is, the more acidic it is. The higher it is, the more alkaline it is. Now, generally for marine environments, the pH of the water should be about like 8.2, which is a bit alkaline. Now, according to studies, oceans of the Cambrian era are said to have a pH of between 7.5 to 9 pH, which is basically means that the water that the Anomalocaris came from is said to be more alkaline, at least slightly, than that of modern oceans. Carbonate hardness, or decay, is a measure of pH stability aimed for a range of between 8 to 12 DKH. Or basically, it's another way of showing just how alkaline it is. Now, in the case of the Cambrian oceans, carbon hardness is not exactly known. However, it is thought that the level of carbon dioxide was very high during the Cambrian period, and the rock record has shown evidence of high levels of carbonate mineral that are in the early Cambrian period, which will probably suggest that the chemistry of the seawater back then is different than it is today. So this could mean that Anomalocaris might tolerate or needs a different measure of carbonate hardness than in modern day oceans. Dissolved oxygen, DO, or basically like oxygen in water, is needed for respiration in organisms like fish and crustaceans in their gills. Anomalocaris have gills for respiration, and its active swimming and hunting lifestyle would have supported by a significant amount of oxygen. Now, in the modern day, with modern marine or saltwater life forms, this, the dissolved oxygen levels, or DO, should range ideally between 6.4 to 7 parts per million, or ppm. However, according to the fossil record, it's often said that the Cambrian Ocean's dissolved oxygen levels are said to be lower than the modern day oceans. Interesting note is that warmer waters, especially supposed to be warmer back then, tend to have lower oxygen levels. Now, this is definitely something to take into consideration because if the Anomalocaris is exposed to a large amount of oxygen, one of the illnesses that they could be able to suffer from is gas bubble disease, which means that air bubbles will start developing in the animal's tissue. So this is definitely something to consider. Salinity, as in to maintain the appropriate amount of sodium in the water. During the Cambrian period, it is said that the salinity of the oceans were likely higher than that today, probably like 1.5 to 2 times the amount. So this could mean that the Anomalocaris would need a high salinity in its aquarium water than usual compared to modern marine tanks. An interesting note is that saltwater has lower oxygen levels than that of freshwater, so higher salinity could be able to help with the oxygen levels in the water. Filtration will definitely be needed to help make certain that the water is clean. There are three main types of filtration that can be used in aquariums, especially for the aquariums of the Anomalocaris. Mechanical filtration basically removes the physical debris and waste particles using materials like filter socks, pads, or sponges. Chemicals filtration removes dissolved contaminants via chemical interactions using media like carbon or specific resins. Although, take caution with this approach because you never know if the animal is going to have a negative reaction to the chemical. So, research on this will definitely need to be done, along with a lot of trial and error. So, take this into consideration. Biological filtration relies on beneficial bacteria to convert toxic ammonia and nitrate into less harmful substances like nitrate. Live rock and sand also contribute to biological filtration. Now, when you're making a tank for Anomalocaris, size definitely does matter. Now, while it is pretty speculative to know the specifics for Anomalocaris, I have an assumption what may be the proper specifications for Anomalocaris, but also a big disclaimer. Now, mind you, just like with all of my videos, this is speculative and is limited by both what the fossil record provides, what nature shows us, and what I know and what I was able to research. And mind you, if any assumptions I presented in this video are wrong, especially those who are probably more knowledgeable on this stuff than me, kindly let me know about this in the comment section below. And who knows? Maybe by the time this video was made, my assumptions were probably unchallenged, but new research could probably challenge it or confirm it. So, mind you, take this with a grain of salt, and not just because it's a saltwater animal. Considering that the Anomalocaris is an active predator, and it's a free swimmer, and its frontal appendages used to hunt prey are pretty fragile. Hence, one of the reasons why it's believed they hunted soft-bodied prey. I would actually take notes from sharks for some idea for Anomalocaris' tank size and shape. While not a strict rule per se, a general rule for keeping free-swimming sharks would be that the tank would be, at minimum, the length of 4 body lengths, a minimum height of 2 body lengths, at a minimal width of 2 body lengths. With this applied for Anomalocaris, it should give the arthropod room to be able to swim fast after prey and enough room to move around. And in gallons, I would probably say that would be probably around 559.2 gallons of water. Mind you, my calculations would be wrong, so if so, definitely leave a comment down below for the correct answer and explain and show how you do it. Now, mind you, this is just the minimum size requirement, meaning that you couldn't make it bigger than this. Either that this guess of mine would be too small for the animal, or that you need to include more individuals into the tank as well. And on a previously mentioned part about turning around, we will also need to consider its shapes. In the case of free-swimming sharks, they can't be able to swim backwards, and regular shapes that are often used for aquarium tanks, like squares and triangles, squares and rectangles, are not good for them, and this will cause stress and injuries to their faces. So, in the case of Anomalocaris, I initially thought that they would not be able to swim backwards, and we'll go for something similar. I later got some information that tells me that they could swim backwards. Let me know in the comment section down below whether this is correct or not. But even if with this, there is the risk that their frontal appendages would get damaged by regular tank shapes. So I would recommend that, like with sharks, make the tank shape like a circle, an oval, or a hexagon, at least from what you can see from above, so that the Anomalocaris will not be trapped or crashed into a sharp corner. And for the tank, you'll definitely need essential equipment for it, like a sturdy stand, a filtration system, a pump that's suitable for salt water is definitely preferable, heater, a thermometer, appropriate lighting, water conditioner, and test kits to make certain that the water is at the optimal condition. Aquascaping is also a must in order to keep your animals happy. Utilizing the appropriate substrates such as calcareous sand, crushed coral, and so forth, live rock for biological filtration, and natural habitat and decorations like ornaments, driftwood, or artificial plants. In the case of Anomalocaris, it is believed that they lived in a reef environment. While the reef environment of the Cambrian period might be different than that of modern reefs, looking at modern reefs would be a good start. Just know that adding large objects to the tank would mean that you would need to make the tank bigger so that the Anomalocaris would not be crowded in. Imagine furniture choking you out of your room or apartment. Lighting is of utmost importance, especially for photosynthetic invertebrates. Adequate lighting is crucial for corals, reefs, and other light-sensitive invertebrates that contain symbiotic algae. Reefs are one of the habitats that have some of the highest light intensities. In terms of light spectrum, you definitely need to choose lighting that matches the natural habitat of the species. Shallow water, which is probably we think Anomalocaris most likely as, prefer 10,000 K, whereas deep water species may need 20,000 K. For lighting, there are several varieties, especially common options, including metal helio, fluorescent, whether T5 or T8, and LED lights. Well, all of which can be useful for aquarium lighting. And along with lighting, temperature is also a big one. Studies indicate that the sea surface temperatures in the tropics back in the Cambrian pretty likely exceeded 68 degrees Fahrenheit. In higher southern latitudes like 65 degrees south or 70 degrees south, temperatures may have ranged from 68 to 77 degrees Fahrenheit. There's also a possibility of the ocean's temperatures being higher than that, but these are a good start to go with. When taking care of these animals, there are definitely many different parts of checks and inspections that we need to do. There are the daily checks. Basically, you monitor the equipment, functionality, water temperature, and observe the animal's behavior. Weekly checks, you basically count how many individuals are still around, monitor for any signs of disease, and change water as needed. And monthly checks, as in like you gotta clean and service the filter, inspect other operating parts. Oh, and along with that, you also, especially when you deal with any new animals in your environment, quarantine any new animals that you get before hooking them in the enclosure with other animals for at least 3 weeks, so to prevent any introduction of diseases and parasites. One of the diseases that could maybe be able to affect Anomalocaris is basically one disease that's known as white spot syndrome virus, a highly contagious and deadly virus that affects the many shrimp species and is often characterized with white spots in the shrimp's exoskeleton. I mean, I know this is not a shrimp, but this is probably what's going to happen with Anomalocaris with this virus. And one parasite there's some parasites that could be able to negatively affect Anomalocaris would be like flukes, tapeworms, and roundworms. Those are definitely the kind of parasites that I think would definitely affect Anomalocaris. And since the environment today is so different than it is back in the Cambrian period, it will definitely negatively affect them pretty well. As mentioned earlier, Anomalocaris is said to hunt soft-bodied prey and not hard-shelled prey. Further details on how to feed this animal would be a topic for a different video. But soft-bodied prey would definitely be a good source of food for the invertebrate, and at least two varieties of soft-bodied aquatic food would be as such. Squid, especially smaller species of squid like pygmy squid, market squid, and young of other species, would definitely be a good source of food for Anomalocaris. Another variety of soft-bodied prey would be jellyfish, especially if they're not that toxic, like moon jellies would be a good example. When decorating your aquarium for the animal, or any kind of animal for that matter, there are at least three things you gotta take consideration. One is safety. Don't use like any toxic material. Like use non-toxic materials, and ensure that the openings are smooth in the decoration, and avoid any sharp edges that could injure the Anomalocaris. And functionality. Ensure the decoration doesn't impede water circulation, and do provide adequate hiding spots for the Anomalocaris, if they do such thing. And aesthetics. Combine natural elements like live rocks, sand, and live plants with appropriate decorations to be able to create an appealing environment for the animal. While it would definitely be anyone's guess on how the exhibit of an Anomalocaris would need to be like, I would say that what I mentioned in this video would be the best guess. And if we were to resurrect this species, and that's a big if, and my guesses are all wrong or partially correct, then research would need to be done so that the Anomalocaris would be given the best of care in the modern era. If you made it this far, thank you for watching this video. I gotta admit, this was definitely a heck of a challenge, especially for my first invertebrate episode. Hopefully I'll be able to make a more and probably considerably better invertebrate episodes later in the future. Trying to make ones for this species was definitely not easy, and it was definitely a challenge. But it was definitely fun to do it. This video was sponsored by David Glean, who has been able to sponsor a lot of my videos for this year. And in case you want to support him, I will leave a link to his YouTube channel down below. He's got his own little project, and I definitely encourage you to support it. I want to say a special thanks to Keenan Taylor, who made a lot of artwork for my videos. I'll leave you a link to his YouTube channel and DeviantArt page down below. Also, want to thanks to my members and subscribers, whether they are of YouTube or a Patreon. I want to thank you all. Every little bit helps. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe to this video. And also for viewers like you, definitely thank you. For anyone, if you know people who are interested in this sort of thing, prehistoric animals and how to take care of them, definitely share them with your friends and even family. Every little bit helps, especially with the algorithm. I hope you all have a grand, wonderful day. Adios.